Right now it's 12:51. I'm not sure if you can see right now, but outside is actually very dark. I just took a shower, and I'm kind of in a mood sort of ish to just film a video today. It's kind of like a book review, but more like book review slash life comments. I don't know how to, like, I don't think I have like a title for it now, so I'm going to leave that and pound around it a bit. But it's raining really hard outside. It's kind of cooling down right now, but I think it's gonna come back later on, and maybe you can hear the thunderstorm behind me, and I think it actually matches the theme of the video I want to make today. So I just took a shower, so I just want to sit down and have like a small conversation, because it's been a while since I kind of picked up a camera and actually wanted to make a video. I want to make, like I said, a book review on this series. So it's Mindf by St. Abby, and I truth be told, there's a lot of things I want to say about it, but I kind of also want to give a bit of a background information to how I got to this book and what was my emotional state when I got to there, so it gives you a better understanding of what I was feeling while I was reading it, and why do I feel like it's a book I want to talk to everyone about. This is purely a sit down and where I have a chat with the camera, and I have a chat with myself, and hopefully I can have a chat with you too, where I just give my opinion on these things. So if that's not your thing, please, you don't have to waste your time here. If those kind of books don't really interest you, or you prefer seeing more action type of videos, please suit yourself. I do want to tell you in advance so that you don't have to waste your time looking through all of it. So first of all, I just finished my exam on the 20th of April, the actual exams that I was prepping for and that I kind of filmed a bit in my previous vlogs. And since then, today is the 18th, no, today is the 19th of May. It's been actually exactly a month since my exams, and the truth is I felt like I wasn't in such a good state. One, I know that it is a sign of burnout when you don't feel like you want to do anything, or you don't have any energy. Oh, I was sick. Well, sure, physically I was sick. Pretty much got the flu thing, I think, for the springtime. But the second aspect that influenced a lot, I do think it's definitely one part of a burnout, and both emotionally and physically, I was both kind of a bit in a zone where I don't know what to do, where I didn't feel like I wanted to do anything. So I didn't feel like I wanted to study, or I didn't feel like I wanted to work, or even us going out, trying to go to these events. I don't know, it felt like it takes so much effort just to get myself to want to do anything. So I kind of know the signs, and I know that I need to slow down and take a break when I get to that point, because if not, it only kind of escalates more at that point. And during this month, I didn't have the motivation or even the will or the want to film anything, nor to really make any videos. It's everything. It was like a work burnout, a creative burnout. It was like nothing was really making me super happy at that point. And then the couple books that I picked out during the month, I kind of skimmed over, or I just read a bit here or read a bit there. Didn't get too much into the story, or I didn't feel anything was really energizing me, which is normally not the case, because books are something that energizes me a lot. I'm a person who watch a lot of booktubers, I forgot if that's what we call them, basically people who review a lot of books on YouTube. And then I'm the kind of person who also stays up all night to finish a book. I've always been that way. It always gives me comfort, and I feel like it actually energizes me. I mean, not the physical part because you didn't sleep the entire night, but mentally or psychologically it definitely energizes me, and it gives me like another boost to do things. So but throughout the month I was trying to pick up new books so that I can get back to myself, and I wasn't super successful, I would say. Then throughout some research, I actually went online and, you know, on Goodreads, and I just went through like a different type of research. I was like, what can I read that's gonna kind of get me back into the groove, or just make me feel like myself again. And that's when I stumbled upon this series. So there's two things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the book itself, and I want to talk a bit about the author, although I haven't done too much research on her, but I just want to give a bit of background information for anyone who is interested and who wants to know. So the first book is called The Risk, and it belongs in the Mindf series, and it's definitely, let's say, in the darker romance series, on a scale of 1 to 10, this would probably be an 8 on my scale. Starting from the beginning, since I was young, I read a lot of different genres, and I think I dabbed into all different genres. I just want to know kind of what everything is about. It does not mean that I love all genres of literature or reading, I don't. But I did want to give everything sort of a shot or a try, just to kind of know myself better, know what I like and not like better. Then until today, so for 27 years of life, I figured out that two of my favorite genres are, one is murder mystery, roman policier, and the other one is romance. These are two genres that I will always read, and I will always come back to, and I probably will read them till the day I die. And this is a book that combined them. I wouldn't say even combine it, I would say maybe it should be called something else. Maybe this kind of book should just be have their own name or whatever, but it's definitely a murder mystery / romance, with more highlight on the murder mystery part. And I'm not gonna give too much of a synopsis of the book. I'm not gonna tell too much about the summary. I most want to say about my feelings towards it and how it's sort of helping me get back on my feet, I think. So very rarely, I think, I've stumbled across, especially after my teenage years. When I was a teenager, when you first started touching all these different genres, it was easier to be surprised because I didn't know what was out there, and it was easier to say, oh, this is an original story and this is the first time I'm coming across this story. As you age, it's harder and harder to say that, and less things take you by surprise. But I'd say this book is one of the most wonderful surprises I've seen and that I've felt towards it. And the characterization, the character build-up that the book has done is beyond any of my expectation. So to recap a bit about usually how I tend to read books and books that I like, that I really got into. So I normally always read or even watch TV shows or movies more than twice, so more than 2 times. When I get into a story, the first time is typically always, I'm not patient enough to focus on any of the details, so I just want to know what's the story, what's the actual development that's going, what's the next action point, what's the next mystery that they have to solve. So I'm only focused on the storytelling. That's the first time when I read something I like. And I usually skim that through very, very fast, as in I go the fastest I can, and I would stay up all night try to finishing up a story, just because I really can't wait till the next day or the day after to kind of know how the story ends. But obviously there are books that I can't finish in a couple days. There are books that have taken me weeks at that pace to finish. But still, most of our regular book length, I can force myself kind of go through it all night and kind of finish it up and just finish it up. So that's the first time, and the first round of reading usually is the one where it kind of shocks me and gives me like a mind-blown sensation towards the actual story, which is how I felt. And this is I've only let's say skimmed my first round in this series. By far nothing compares to it. Honestly, nothing I've read until today really compares to it. And then the second time around, that's when I go into the details. So now I'm slowing down my pace because I already know what the story is and I have a good understanding of what the development, the progress of the story is. So this time around, I really focus on every single detail, how the author sets the scene, what are they wearing, what the colors are, like if it's red, it's purple, it's black, if it's a darker scene, what's the weather outside, how are people talking to each other, what's their body language towards each other, are they giving each other looks, are they whispering, are they speaking loudly. I will spend maybe double or triple the time that I've done the first time around to pay attention to all those details, so it gets me exactly into the mood of how the author wants to set the scene. First time around, I would read it as a third-person perspective and just me skimming across this story that's passing me by. So it's like if you were a bipartisan just persona and you're kind of seeing a life passing you by, versus the second time around I tried to get into the story. Each time each character is either performing a certain action or they're having a certain monologue, I try to get into the character. I try to fully understand, okay, what are they thinking about, why are they portraying such a scene, why is it that their reaction towards it. So I kind of psychoanalyze everything, which just in my mind gives me the full image of how that scene would look like. So think about it as if you were watching something in a 2D perspective. The first round I would be watching in a 2D perspective where things are kind of just flat and just passing me by. The second time around, the actual scene becomes 3D and I get to rotate everything around and I get to zoom in and out and see how each characters are placed into the story. That's what I do the second time around, and I haven't done that yet, but I don't need to do that to know that this book is already at the next level, that beyond my expectations. There's 5 books in the series. The first one, I'd say 5 chapters in the first one, it already caught me. It didn't need, like, I know that I was going to finish the series. Sometimes when you read the first book and then you read the second one, third one, you're like, this didn't go as I planned. This wasn't really how I imagined it to be, and I don't know if I'm still into it or not. Sometimes you have that feeling. Sometimes the first one just has such a plot twist that caught you, but then it slowly kind of let you go over time. But this wasn't this book. You can never really guess what the author's up to, and every page is kind of keeping you on your toes. And that's what readers like. Obviously, that's a dream come true for readers to come across authors like this, to come across people that suddenly changes your worldview and changes your perspective on everything. And I think that's what she did. She made me question my own morality, and she also give me the option to observe and analyze my own behaviors towards whatever inequalities we're seeing in the world. And I feel like that's what a good book does to you. That's the entire purpose of reading. Obviously, we don't always read to learn something and want to relax. We want to get lost in the story. We just want to escape to somewhere else. Some people do that by traveling, and some people do that by reading. But once upon a long time, you will come across a book like this that I'd say changes you as a person and adds something to your character that you didn't know could be there in the first place. And that's pretty much the entirety how I feel towards it. So the author's name is St. Abbey, and obviously right after I've done the first round of reading it, I went on Google. I tried to research as much as I can on her. I tried to see what else did she write and what else can I get my hands on, and that's when I come to realize that that's one of the pseudonyms of the author. The author is actually C.M. Owens, and she has 3 different pseudonyms for 3 different genres that she writes. And under this pseudonym of St. Abbey, this is the only series that she wrote under this name, and it's the darker romance something called genre. Actually, I don't know if I would still put it under romance. Definitely there is romance, and they kind of come across the entire story, and it's a very important part of the story, but I don't think it's the romance part that makes the highlight. I really think it's the questions and the morality she brings in the book that makes you feel these emotions. So I went to research the author, and I tried to understand, okay, what else can I read of her? And that's when I came across this sad news, is that she passed away last year. She passed away in 2021 in an accident. And that shocked me, I'd say, in 2 ways. One, obviously, it's like you just discovered a new toy, or you just discovered something you fell in love with, and all of a sudden you're feeling a loss towards it. It's very fresh. Just because the story is so fresh in my mind, so the loss of the author is also extremely fresh in my mind. But the second reason is because the talent that comes across in the book, the talent that the author demonstrates, you feel like that's a once-in-a-generation kind of talent, and you feel like it's a loss to humanity that we don't get to see more of it, that we don't get to read more of it, that we don't get a chance to reflect on more of it. Part of it also made me think of what are our roles coming into this life, and whatever the role of the author was, she fulfilled them beyond, I think, initial planning, or beyond initial expectation, because her book would have touched so many people, and her book would have made so many people ponder on their choices and their life views. And she accomplished that. She touched so many lives. It's just surprising and also encouraging. It's encouraging and it's motivating to see talent like this. It's sad that she left, but I am so grateful that she left these books behind, so that we have the opportunity to read them. We have the opportunity to study them. We have the opportunity to use them and to better ourselves, to learn from our mistakes. Because seeing talent like that is humbling. Especially coming from me. I'm both in my personality and in my behavior. I'm definitely called borderline arrogant by everyone I know. But seeing talent like that, it's humbling. Like I said before, it gives me a new perspective onto everything I'm doing, either in my career, in my studies, me planning my life, me trying to travel and see places. It makes me reconsider what I prioritize in my life, what I should prioritize in my life, and what should take precedence. I'm not gonna say that it fixes all the issues or that it's all of a sudden gives me all this abundant energy that I can just go out and jump and do whatever I want. I still don't feel the will to do that, but it did put me in a different mindset. It brought me to a different space. It made me want to reconsider what I can bring to this world. I'm gonna show this one more time. I don't have the physical books, and I don't know if I'm gonna buy them. Probably not now, just because we're traveling so much and I don't want to bring heavy stuff with me. So it probably will stay on my Kindle for now. But later on, once we are stable and once we are not moving around so much, and I know for a certain matter of years that we'll kind of stay in one place, then definitely this will be something that will always be on my bookshelf. And for people who are like myself and who are readers like that, this is definitely an experience that will shake you to the core. In terms of the darkness, I'd say, of the book itself, so definitely not for the faint of heart. It has a dark component, please. It's a violence. There's a violence trigger, and if those are not your thing, don't even give it a shot. But for those that are your thing and you do read them relatively often, just be aware that it might still be a deeper level than what we're used to seeing on the market. Because there are a lot of, I'd say, mid-range dark romance books which are lighter. Okay, this shouldn't be called light. This shouldn't be called light at all. I'd say it's easier to swallow, and you kind of go on about your day and it doesn't impact you that much. But this one will. Just remember that if you are picking it up, it will stay with you for quite a long time. And this is it. Thank you for listening. And I will see you guys next time.